Just kidding. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Let's Chat Live, a show where we do weekly live interviews to connect you with the voices behind different podcasts and, different individuals. I am your host, Bree, producer of Let's Chat, and today we have our good friend, Seaball. That's him. Hey,
Hello.
bud. Welcome back. Special episode. Before we tell you about our guest, I just wanted to talk about our Let's Chat Club real fast. It's our online community to empower content creators and creatives to monetize their passion projects while making industry connections. And we like to help build and strengthen their brand, and we offer classes and network opportunities, and we help with a variety of content needs and one sheets and getting advertisers. So you can check it out at letschatpodcast.net to get connected with us.
Sounds good. All right. Today we have an opportunity to sit down with a guy that I've known through our fellow host, Chris Rebel, for a while now. And this guy, Chad here, he is he's an author, and he is from the Turtle Rocket Books. Sorry, a little out of place in this one. It's been a while. He has really, really good sense of humor. He loves talking about all things sci-fi and pop culture and nerd culture alike. So I say, without further ado, let's just bring him right on.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, Chad.
How you doing?
Great. We are so happy to have you on. You're one of our biggest supporters of Let's Chat and Let's Chat podcast and live. And I know that we're usually just doing podcasts and interviews for them, but I was like, we need to expand, we have to get Chad on. So I am so glad we finally have that opportunity.
Well, thank you for having me on. I know you normally do podcasts, but you always talk about nerd culture. That's something that that's definitely in my wheelhouse, to be sure.
You and I alike, buddy.
Awesome. Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't have to be just podcasts, authors, you have to do a lot of show notes for a podcast. So it kind of fits in perfectly. Instead of telling your story, you're writing your story. So we are excited about that.
Yeah. I love all the wide variety you guys have. So I was always and I like being able to throw in my 2 cents. That's always fun.
Yes, I always whenever you're not there, I notice.
Yeah, definitely when I was doing the show. Definitely when I was doing the show more often, I definitely noticed quite a bit.
Hey, Rebel. We love you, Rebel. He always says, I'm his partner, and then he has to clarify that we're not married or we've never actually met.
Business partner, that's easy.
Yes, this is awesome because this is our first non-podcast guest. Hopefully first of many, so we can get creative individuals, so we can branch out a lot more. So, Chad, why don't you give us a little background on yourself, who you are, and where you're from?
Well, my name is Chad Dakota. I'm originally from Manville, Rhode Island, which is part of Lincoln. I know some of your followers are from Rhode Island, as I know Chris is, and so forth. I always tell people I'm the CEO and sole employee of Turtle Rocket Books. I've written 13 science fiction novels, four trilogies in a one shot. That was kind of a goal that I set for myself, and I've since expanded. I moved the goalpost a little bit since then. But yeah, I write science fiction that kind of takes relatable characters and puts them in really fantastic sci-fi scenarios. I experiment with the idea that if you like a main character that much, you'll follow them anywhere, no matter how. If you connect with that character, definitely. It doesn't matter what they're doing. If they change the ending to Driving Miss Daisy so that that Morgan Freeman rescued her from aliens, okay, you're not connected to the character. But I know I kind of experiment with that idea. That if you like the character, no matter how wacky the sci-fi elements, you'll still be engaged. I hope people are.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree. I watched The 100, and it's like a post-apocalyptic kind of sci-fi thing. And at one point, I was just mad at one of the characters, but I was like, I really like this character though, and so I finished the entire season.
Hate to love to hate.
Yes, gosh. You say 12 or 14 books?
I've written 13. That was my original goal was because I had ideas for 4 trilogies and then a one shot. And the one shot was a dystopian novel called Veganarchy. And because I don't normally write dystopian, that's a one shot. I wasn't going to make that one a trilogy, So my goal was to write 13 books. And I've since moved the goalpost just because I have a series called The Taddler. And The Taddler is basically about journalists who investigate weird stuff. It's like if the guys who work on Weekly World News, if all that stuff was true, imagine how the interesting adventures they would have, looking, aliens ate my dog and Sasquatch and all that kind of investigating these things,
Reminds me of, was it Men in Black, where they go and read the news for the actual alien stuff?
Yeah, no, actually, the idea for The Taddler came from that one joke in Men in Black, and I'm like, this movie should be a journalist. I kind of ripped off Men in Black. I'll be honest about it.
It's all right. They rip stuff off for years. It's fine.
Yeah, of course. So, but that series is about journalists who investigate weird stuff. And I thought to myself, I said, well, if I'm going to take any of these ideas beyond 3 books, that will be the one, because any idea I come up with in the future, as long as there's journalists investigating it, I can expand it. So what I'm working on now, I wanted to write 13 books. I did that. I reached the goal. That's awesome. But I have an idea. What I'm going to do is the thing about The Taddler too is that it has a little bit of every sci-fi element you could think of. I got aliens in there. I got time travel and so on and so forth. And what I'm going to do, what I'm working on now, is like a end game, kind of like Into the Spider-Verse. And I know Rebel likes Spider-Verse.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
And I'm going to take the other books that I've written, and I'm going to do a Taddler story that involves alternate dimensions and take all of my books and the characters from each one of my books and come together in this one. So I'm working on a book called Multiverse Jailbreak.
Ooh.
And so that's the one that I'm going to kind of extending, nice. and whatever ideas I come up with, I'm just going to extend the Taddler series because that's like a very anything goes sci-fi kind of thing.
Nice.
It's an endless little sandbox there.
Yeah.
Sci-fi Remnant. Did someone say sci-fi? We love them so much. They're so good.
They're awesome.
I was just on an episode with them doing What Happened to Monday, that sci-fi movie. So good. It's so good. You just listen to it.
Either.
What kind of sci-fi is it? Aliens, dystopian one?
It is like it's set in like 2025 or something, and where like people are only allowed to have like one child, and this guy has like 7 kids, and he has to hide them, and everything's like it's intense and awesome.
Oh, okay.
Not too far from some countries.
That's my
cousin.
So, like for all those books, how long did it take you to write them, or how long does it typically take you to write one book?
Well, I had a bunch of short stories that I kind of just expanded, to into novels when I decided to do all this. It took me a little over 5 years. Like I was celebrating the 5th anniversary of Turtle Rocket Books, and I was almost at my goal at that point. So it was a little over 5 years to do that. But I had a lot of short stories that I kind of borrowed characters from and so forth.
Oh wow, that's nice. Because sometimes I know it takes a really long time to develop each character. Like, what's your process during all that?
Well, when I come up with an idea, I have a notepad, and I just keep writing all my ideas down until I think I have enough for a story. And I just keep writing, and then I draw little arrows to connect things. And the messiest, probably the messiest notes you ever seen. Only I know what's going on here. But then when I transfer them into my computer, I think I got something here, so I'm going to transfer them into my computer now, and that's like another draft of the outline. And then I keep working on it until I think I have a whole story. Then I start working on the actual book. But yeah, I start with a messy notepad with a little weird drawing.
Writing is not an easy affair, so it's a pretty good skill that you have going there. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to take an idea and actually be able to put it into something that becomes this grand.
Stick with it.
Yeah.
That's it too.
I definitely, I definitely have. I've written enough books. I have like a process to a rhythm.
Yeah.
And I know
everybody does that.
I know if something's working. I got a paper shredder underneath my desk. If the idea's not working.
Oh no, that's been. When I first started like typing professionally, I would type manuscripts for authors. So they would send me their manuscript and I would just like hand type it and put it into Word and so that they can use it as a usable document. And I got to be able to recognize letters and a different way of like people writing and put books together. And some of those authors, it takes them like years, and there's so much editing that has to be done. Do you do the editing yourself?
I do the editing myself, and you know initially I do a decent job because I mean when I first started this I know I couldn't afford to do an edit. I'm like, I'll do it myself. And I have one thing that helps me with editing is I go over it a bunch of times myself, of course, but I have this this program where you copy and paste it and it reads it to you, and that is definitely helpful with editing. Hearing the robot voice read my story to me. I'm like, oh, that's not working. Okay, then I'll change that.
Yeah, the pacing, the context.
Yeah, so the robot voice, and it was some screenwriting program I bought when I was trying to learn that process. That didn't go anywhere, but I still have the program, and I have the little robot voice read to me and helps me edit.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's smart to be able to like hear it out loud. Do you do audiobooks too, or are yours just written?
I do. I recently branched out into audiobooks, and so all but 2 of my books are available as audiobooks, and I'm working on the other 2. But they're not my voice. I found narrators on ACX is this website where there are people on there who will do the audiobook and they just take the royalties. They share the royalties with you. And the reason I didn't jump on this sooner is because I thought I was going to have to pay them up front. I didn't think I could afford it and stuff like that. So I'll just stick with what I've written. But I don't have to pay them up front. We just both kind of sharing the benefits. I'll just advertise the crap out of it and we'll. So once I realized that was a thing, great. I was happy to have my stuff as audiobooks. That's the way I was able to kind of expand Turtle Rocket Books in the past year and a half.
That's big.
All but 2 of my books are and those they will be soon. I'm working on that.
So soon enough.
That is awesome. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have like long commutes to work now that things are opening back up.
Yeah, and I've got some decent reviews on ACX. Gives you a lot of free ones to give away to people, like on social media and stuff like that. And I've been able to give a bunch away and generate reviews and all that. So and I've gotten some good reviews. So that's very good.
Oh, nice. What kind of publisher do you use? Did you have a company that you like sticking with, or?
Yeah, I use Kindle Direct Publishing, and I do my little joke about being the CEO and sole employee, and I do everything myself.
Wow.
And a couple my Exoskeleton Chronicles trilogy, I had a friend of mine draw the covers for me, and one of my books I had a professional do it just because it was my favorite. When I did all the part 1s, like I hadn't done sequels yet. I started with 5 part 1s and then started doing sequels. My favorite part 1 was the Interterrestrial, and it was my least favorite cover. I was like, well, I can't have my favorite book have my least favorite cover. That's not, so I splurged on that one.
Nice.
But I do like doing everything myself. I like very minimalist covers. People might think it's too simple or whatever, but I like having a story like my working class.
Right to the point.
Yeah, right to the point. And it does, and the reader gets ideas in their own mind as well. Like I got a working class superheroes, and I got the character from the neck to his waist doing the Superman thing with he has an M because he has an M for first symbol. That's very straightforward. Everybody who knows anything about superheroes has seen somebody go like this before. Spider-Man does it, and so on and so. It's very to the point. I do like the minimalist cover.
Yeah. So you have a lot of friends that are artists, and they help you with most of your book covers. Do you give them like an idea of like what you want, and they do it?
Yeah, my friend Joe Dickinson, who did the Exoskeleton Chronicles, he doesn't do it professionally, but he loves to draw, and I like what you do. Can I we negotiated a price, and he was nice enough to do a wonderful job with those. Yeah, but he doesn't do it professionally. He just does it creative. But I liked it a lot, and I'm like, and he agreed to do it, and I'm glad he did.
Wow, that's nice to have those connections.
Yeah, he's a big anime fan, and so Right, and then he made my character look. Yeah, I love the anime because it is different from my other stuff. I want it to be a little different than my other stuff. So yeah, it worked really well.
You have like broaden your people that are going to read it too. So you have a reach to lots of people.
Yeah.
So who or what or got you interested in writing, and when did you start writing?
Oh, I mean, I've been writing since I was a kid. That was probably one of the few things I was good at in school. And I had a teacher that was very encouraging. Like I wrote a story about this kid who gets his first job dumping toxic waste into a machine. Okay, this makes no sense, but I was
Oh no!
I was in 7th grade at the time, and his boss was really mean, gets mad with him, and throws him into that machine.
Oh my gosh!
And he finds out that he'd been dumping all this toxic waste into this paradise world with dinosaurs in it. Like he feels bad what he's been doing all that. And I forget how he gets home, but I purposely I wrote this specifically with my teacher in mind because she was into a lot of environmental causes and stuff like that. So the end of it was a little preachy just because I thought that's what she'd want to hear. She gave me an A, so good. Yeah, that's what I was.
Because it worked.
And justify the means.
Right. It's wrong to pollute, blah blah blah. That was at the end. But yeah. And I always loved doing it. And even in study hall as a kid, I used to take if I was done with whatever homework I was going to do, I would take up a single piece of paper, and I would write a story that was basically two monsters fighting, and I would try to make it funny in some way. And there was a kid I would pass him to, and he got a kick out of it. And then I kept basically I kind of did it to amuse him. And I kind of made a series out of it because whatever monster won the fight yesterday he got to fight somebody else. It was kind of like Godzilla versus Godzilla guy at that fight. So yes, I was doing that when I was in junior high school.
Wow.
Nothing wrong with that. That's a pretty cool idea that you can go about that. I'm pretty good with getting ideas. I'm a pretty good idea guy for that stuff. Not so much the writing end of it though. But when I'm around the right people, it's the same way. Like my brain just starts going with stories and able to just create. So it's pretty good. You can just do that on the flash by yourself.
Yeah, and the brainstorming, writing in the notebook. That's why you kind of sort it out and kind of make it something as opposed to just something. In that case, I was just trying to make my friend laugh. But when you brainstorm,
it's gonna start somewhere. I mean, it's got. Right. I mean, a lot of mine came from weird dreams. You know what I mean? Listen to white noise or whatever it is. Like white noise at night. Whatever that ethereal kind of thing it is. And I had the most bizarre dreams. And I would just wake up and write that stuff up in my phone, whatever I can remember. And I just listed this weird,
If everyone saw that, they'll probably think you're a crazy person.
Dude, my manager loves it. He always asks he's just one of those guys. He used to be a former basketball coach, so he's a motivational dude, super into you, asking and stuff. And he's like, "Oh, does anyone have some weird dreams today or anything like that?" And I'm like, "So happened, yeah." I'm just telling him, he's like, "Why are these stories? What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, one day if I can find somebody." Writer, an artist, or whatever, comic artist, make something and go on.
Yeah, well, that the Ninja Turtles came from Eastman and Laird trying to make it draw funny things, make each other laugh.
Yeah, I met those guys. Funny dudes.
Yeah, well, I met Kevin Eastman one time, but yeah, he was like, the joke was, Bruce Lee is very fast. What if a turtle had nunchucks like Bruce Lee? That started out as the joke, and then they developed something out of it.
Yeah.
Even. Did you hear the funny story about they were doing dishes one day and he put his hand in a cheese grater and that's where Shredder came from? He put and he's like, grater man? No, that's kind of corny. Shredder, that's a little better. Yeah, ideas. Yeah, ideas come from somewhere. But they were doing dishes and he's like, what about this could be the villain?
And they came from just making loving and aping things Marvel, the Daredevil thing, just because the toxic waste. Came from it, and that's what became Daredevil. It's the same.
I love Daredevil, except for Ben Affleck.
That's why Disney should buy Ninja Turtles as well. Disney should buy Ninja Turtles as well, so that they can do a movie where Daredevil and Ninja Turtles share an origin, because they did share an origin in the comics. The thing hit the guy in the eye, and then fell. Yeah, hit the guy. Yeah, they can make that canon.
Oh, that was so cool.
Just
Could
like
you
a
imagine? Oh,
It's a
wow.
weird like off like camera thing happen.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what?
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
Um, what's your favorite genre to read and write? Like,
Well, yeah,
okay.
I read mostly sci-fi. I like reading about history and different kinds of history. But I only write sci-fi. I don't. Yeah, that's. But of course, there's so many different kinds of sci-fi that if I want to,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
yeah, that's so. If I want to write a western, it'll be a sci-fi western, stuff like that.
Why not? Wild Wild
Ooh,
West
like
tried it,
Cowboys
right?
versus Aliens?
Yeah,
Love that
yeah.
Cowboys to Aliens, Wild Wild West. Mm.
Yeah. I mean, science fiction is just fiction with
Oh,
science in it. So
in that TV show with Bruce Campbell, shoot, what was that '90s show? I can't remember now. He did a really good show that was like quasi sci-fi, like it had a sci-fi element in it, but it was a Western show.
Yeah,
Me too, man.
Cowboys versus Aliens, so good.
It's
It's
one of my favorites.
underrated.
Oh, Briscoe County Jr.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that.
It's a really good show. It's fun.
Uh-huh.
It's like just enough of a sci-fi element threaded, but it's really just like a Western.
No, yeah. And I mean, Mandalorian. I mean, that was a sci-fi.
Well.
It was done very well.
The best interpretation. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah. Science fiction is just any fiction with science in it. So there's a lot of places to go as long as it has space travel, genetics, robots, something. You know.
Some sort of element.
Yeah, even I'm surprised there's no. The only sci-fi musical I can think of is Little Shop of Horrors, which is great. You ever see Little
That
Shop
was
of
the
Horrors?
first play I ever saw.
Oh,
Live. Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes.
Yeah, I can only think of like horror and horror comedy musicals.
Yeah.
Like is it Repo Man?
Yeah.
Well,
Sweeney Todd. Yeah.
Sweeney Todd, Anniversary
that.
Apocalypse.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, but I mean, sci-fi has kind of touched every genre, including maybe not many musicals, but some musicals too.
Not yet. We will see some more, right?
Yeah, well, maybe.
Oh, Repo the Genetic Opera. That's what it was.
Where do you get your inspiration for like characters in your books?
Well, sometimes I'll get an idea for just something I want to say, and I come up with a story that says what I want to say, and sometimes I'll come up with a character. And characters are based on people I know, and it's usually I usually take characteristics from 3 or 4 people I know. Like one time, actually my book The Tattler, the main character Barry, is based on a friend of mine, my friend Colby. Now, Colby has a great sense of humor, but he's very shy. And basically, Barry is Colby, but if Colby wasn't shy, like if he blurted out the stuff he says when he's comfortable with when friends he's comfortable with, but he said that kind of stuff all the time, that's Barry, right? So I based that on him, and but what if Colby was a little more rambunctious, which he's totally not, but I based it on his sense of humor. Something, based on people I know. Sometimes I mix a few people together.
Nice. What is your favorite sci-fi property? What does that mean? Like
a
something that
franchise or.
Well, I love Ninja Turtles when they don't completely take the seriousness out of it, because the original comics was serious. There should be at least humor, the humor too. So I like Ninja Turtles as long as it's a little bit like the 1990 movie, the 2012 Nickelodeon series. Ninja Turtles is my favorite property. But when they sold out as and they were just to sell toys, the coming out of your shells toy, they dumbed it down for kids at one point, undesirably.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but yeah, no, and then they stuck with what was in the comics with a little bit of humor from the cartoon series. They could have a Marvel level. But even that, the Michael Bay version, among its many problems, it was trying too much to be the 80s cartoon, which was a quite commercial. But the 1990 movie, it had a little more seriousness to it, and then the humor too. Michelangelo should still crack jokes and stuff. But no, Ninja Turtles is my favorite property as long as they take it seriously enough. And I would argue that back in the 1990 Ninja Turtle movie, you have when they're fighting, Foot Clan, they crack jokes, Wheel of Fortune, dude, and they crack jokes, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the movie, when they think Splinter is dead and they're fighting the main bad guy, it's more of an intense fight, they're mad now, right? They were doing what Marvel does now back then, because in Captain America: Civil War, you have the airport scene was very jokey, but then when Iron Man thinks Bucky killed his mom, now he's mad. That first Ninja Turtle movie blended seriousness and humor the way Marvel's doing it now. But then the other ones started making it jokey again to sell toys. So if they go back to that, then Ninja Turtles will be my favorite sci-fi property.
Like the TMNT movie, and my son loves the Ninja Turtles, so we watched a lot of the movies on repeat and the cartoons and stuff.
I think the last thing I watched from them, I watched through the whole that last one, that last Nickelodeon series, the one that lasted for quite a while there when they were younger.
Rise of the TMNT.
Maybe it was definitely pretty cool because there was so many callbacks to the old shows and the old movies, and especially the first couple seasons.
Right. Well, the 2012 one, where it was the one, that's the one that was CGI. That one's good. That one is awesome.
I think that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
That one
was. I liked how they were just honoring left and right the TV show and the movies, and like they were not trying to step or take over.
Yeah.
Right down to actually bringing the originals in.
Yeah. Well, right. But I mean, they took every version of Ninja Turtles that was halfway decent ever since my entire life. When I was growing up, there was when the cartoon was popular and everything. There was a series, Archie Comics.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And so the Nickelodeon one had the Mighty Mutanimals, which was this group of other mutants that were good guys. They brought back the Mighty Mutanimals. I'm like, oh, that's awesome! Like that was from the Archie Comics. They basically took every good version of Ninja Turtles and put it in the blender.
Yeah. The people behind that show really, really had a hell of a love letter that they wanted it to read to the fans.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the flying saucer element with the Krang.
Yeah.
Very much reminded me of 50s sci-fi, which I'm also a big fan of 1950s, because it would be that woo! They even use that kind of music in it and stuff like that. And they were in flying saucers. I mean, it was very such a good series. And the other thing that I love about the 2012 is in the 80s there was you had April and her coworker was Irma. Do you remember Irma?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
She was always whining about how she couldn't get a date, right? So, and even as a kid, I'm like, I hope I don't meet anybody like this when I get older, But in the 2012 one, and if the 2012 one, of course, April's a little younger, and so was Irma. So they put Irma, but the new version of Irma was a lot more like Daria from MTV, like she was kind of right. So I'm like, oh, that's good. That's a cool update to that character, right? Then spoiler alert, but she turns out to be a Krang robot, and she has a Krang in her chest, and she's like thumping around. I'm like, oh, and I thought it was hysterical, because I always hated the original version of the character, and now they're moving on it that way. But yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, the Day of the Earthers, still absolutely
love it. Yeah, that element of Ninja Turtles kind of reminded me of that music. And everything.
That's so good.
I was just humming Doctor Who. You probably realize.
It's another show I love.
Oh yeah.
Well, to a point I liked. I stopped watching at some point, but
yeah, there's 30 years of episodes. I'm a little behind now.
I stopped watching some of the newer ones.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you play a lot of video games, like Ninja Turtle video games, or any kind?
No, I play video games once in a while. I'm into Super Mario Maker. That I really like, because I've always loved Mario games, and that's actually the first game I ever played where you make something. Like I never was into Minecraft or that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I love Mario games my whole life. I can make my own Mario level, and it's super fun. It's really good. And there's a social media element where people click like if they like your level and stuff like that. I like that. But I don't play that much. It's usually a lot of times if I happen to be home by myself and I'm warming something up, you can play one of those games. You can even play Mario Kart, a whole four cups, for the four races to get one cup. You can play that in 15 minutes. So I kind of time it where if I've got I play video games when I got something cooking and stuff like that. But
Oh, that's nice.
I like Mario Maker. Been my new thing.
Yeah, that's me on the Switch. I'm about the same way. Like I'll have a friend who I go to school with or work with, or somebody else. They'll be playing like Rocket League or something. And I don't even play that much of that at all. But it's like there's such like 10-minute matches.
Yeah, Dawn from Game On plays that.
Yeah, play a few games of it. My daughter lives in California, and she'll try to con me into playing Fortnite once in a blue moon. So I'll throw myself on that and watch myself get just decimated and just go, okay, that's enough. Daddy's old. I got to move on now. Once in a while.
What are your favorite movies, like the top 2 favorite movies?
Empire Strikes Back and The Dark Knight. I like the dark second part to a trilogy. Like that, for some reason, those are always my favorite.
Yeah. Empire's kind of like the almost universal, really.
Yeah.
Good, rightfully so.
Yeah. And if I was given a third choice, I would pick the original Muppet movie, just because that is a movie where like it's cheerful without being corny. Like it's the one movie where the hero goes up to the villain at the end and says, "I don't think you're a bad person. I think like the super." They're trying to convert him at the end, to being a nice person and stuff like that. I love Empire, but the original Muppet movie. If I need to watch something cheerful, that's kind of what I go to.
It's a good one.
We used to watch Muppet Christmas Carol every year for like Christmas. It used to be like just I don't understand the Muppets, and it's just so confusing. But I'm not supposed to read too much into the Muppets, but still it bothers me. But we used to watch that every year.
Well, the original Muppet Show, it was Jim Henson was goofing on. Firstly, he was trying to make something with puppets for an older audience because he did Sesame Street, and this doesn't have to just be for kids. We can have older kids / adults, but like the original Muppet Show was a parody of vaudeville. Because there's always wacky stuff going on backstage, So, and Jim Henson probably grew up with that, and being maybe some vaudeville acts being on TV or whatever. And then the movies were just like, they treated the Muppets as a real life comedy troupe, and now we're doing a movie. Now we're doing a caper, Great Muppet Caper, and stuff like that. And I loved the one of the more recent ones with Jason Segel, where they introduced Walter.
Yes.
Yeah, I love how that's the only Muppet movie where they reference the old Muppet Show, and they're trying to save the theater and all that. Because the Muppet movies were just like, well, this is a comedy troupe, and now they're not in the theater anymore. Now they're making movies. But yeah, they actually referenced it, trying to save the theater. That was awesome too. But
yeah,
that's nice.
Did you see that? Did you see that one season of the Muppets and the recent show that got canceled?
I was so mad when that got canceled, because so many people were complaining that it was I didn't think it was so adult that a kid couldn't watch it. Of course, I'm not.
I think it was good. I liked it.
Yeah. So
I thought it was really good. I mean, the original Muppet Show wasn't all that too childlike either. I mean, God, Muppets are beating the crap out of each other, and the old men are up on balconies screaming.
I love them.
They're putting warnings on it now. They're putting warnings on certain Muppet Show episodes now, so it can't be that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh wow.
But Well, like the thing about that one season of the Muppet Show, they ended on a cliffhanger too, and then they canceled it, and I love The Office as well, and they put it's a Muppet version of The Office.
Yeah,
I'm like, and people were complaining that it was too adult. Like, no, the original Muppet Show was for adults. And the pilot episode was called Muppet Show Sex and Violence, so you need to be calm down and just enjoy your Muppet Show.
Oh wow! I mean, most kids' movies have like adult references anyway, so like you got to keep both people entertained.
Absolutely, it's like your Pixar movies. I mean, a Pixar movie, or even SpongeBob, you can go through that whole show, like as a kid, and not notice that, but an adult's going to pick it up, and it's like, okay, well, that's weird. Like, but okay, I get it. They're kind of doing it for us, because we got to suffer through this too.
As long as it goes over the kid's head, like it's not going to.
Exactly. Like Pixar shows it. I catch it all the time, and my kid's loving it. He's laughing, and I'm just like, I got that joke. That was pretty funny.
I got that.
I got the underline of that one.
I don't think any kid that watches Toy Story, for example.
Oh boy.
And Buzz Lightyear is showing off his laser. And what's with him? Laser envy. I don't think any kid gets that joke. And that's perfect.
Yeah.
Make the adults laugh. That's perfectly fine. Or even Mr. Potato pulls off his lips and kisses his own butt and stuff like that. If it goes over the kid's head, it's fine.
It's great. I love
laser
that
envy.
stuff. That's why Pixar is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't you
Pixar's
dare.
good. Sometimes they do these little shorts, or like Disney does shorts.
Yeah,
But,
that's
like,
what
the
they
character
have them all over
dies, and it's like, it's supposed to be like a little
Up
habit.
or Soul, or they definitely kind of breaching into the adult section of things, which I don't mind because it's up to you to kind of decide what's good for your kid or not. So
Onward wrecked me. Like I ugly cried during that whole thing. We only watched it once, and that's it. And kids know, like, Mom can't watch that movie because she'll just cry.
dude, Up was awful. I mean, I saw that in the theater, and you heard so many people confused cry. First 10 minutes, man. First 10 minutes, just bawling.
First 10 minutes, at least Bambi's mother waited a little bit to die, and Bambi.
That's
Yeah, get to
Same
like
thing
her
with
first, and they take her.
Mufasa as well.
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
Getting plowed by
Even now, that is hard to watch. He's just falling off, and it's man. I always fast
Disney
forward.
Disney's not wasting any time killing, like just going right after your heart right away. Little Nemo.
Another opening scene that
Open scene will die. Now happy things.
All his children get eaten all at once, and
That's so horrible.
Life
Oh my
lessons,
gosh,
baby.
we had to
Life
try to watch the rest
out.
of it. It's like I can't get past that.
I saw a fan theory that said that actually all of Marlon's children got eaten, and the rest
I did see this. Yeah,
the rest of that movie is Marlon's PTSD, like fantasy, like he's pretending that Nemo actually.
Oh really? Oh my god,
that is dark as.
that's horrible.
Yeah.
Or you go into like the darkness of like Wall-E, like that whole dystopian notion, is it all? And then
That
find
must
it, like
be,
then all the humans
Robert.
are just bunch of lazy fat people up in spaceships.
Yeah, Wall-E, I couldn't do. Like Wall-E.
I love Wall-E. I love that
gross,
shit. I love
crazy
Wall-E.
movie. I don't like it.
No. Well, yeah. I mean, they were trying to make a point. Technology makes people lazy. You got to be careful. I mean, that was the point they were trying to make.
Destroying the planet and
too much luxury, can make people lazy. Okay, I understood the point. Yeah, that one was definitely.
that's a pretty bold. Dude, they were taking pretty bold strokes with that show. And like, who would have ever thought to make a movie like that, animated for Disney, no less, but in general, like as a
So
kid
messed up.
aimed.
Yeah.
It's pretty smart. I mean, it's bold.
Well, it's not. I mean, it's definitely a positive message. Don't pollute. Don't be lazy. Well, don't pollute. Don't be. There's definitely positive messages in it. So put it in a kids movie.
It was like, I remember my son used to carry around the stuffed animal Wall-E. I'm like, that was his version of Short Circuit. Like he's Johnny number 5.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was definitely influenced by Johnny Five. I saw that.
Exactly. And that's all he did. He didn't care that back then what that story was about. He just saw this cute little robot in Eve, and a little cockroach running around.
Oh yeah, gotta love the cockroach.
That movie is just a lot.
It could be so much worse. Go watch the 80s movies that we used to grow up with. Even the Ewoks movies. Oh my god. Those two Ewok.
Yeah, I haven't seen those in so long, but yeah. Even
that's a Disney Plus.
You ever see Return to Oz?
Of course. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All the Wheelers.
Yeah, the Wheelers, or the lady who has a bunch of like severed heads in a glass case, like you think she like beheaded people or whatever.
Oh, and
she casually walks over, takes off her head, puts it in the case, and takes another one, like she's changing because why not?
And then that little girl grows up to be the crazy one in Craft.
And she was also in Waterboy as well. That little Dorothy.
Yes. Yes.
The girl.
That's a crazy person.
Yeah.
Oz made her lose her mind.
When people talk about freaky kids movies, Return to Oz, that's my go-to.
That one's wild.
That's
true.
All I think about is the Wheelers. Good lord.
Yeah, all the Wheelers and even like Labyrinth and Dark Crystal too. That was.
Oh,
I've never
wow.
seen Labyrinth. I haven't seen it yet.
What?
It's on my list.
Yeah, and it's pretty good. But that was Jim Henson was trying to like, make puppetry like more for old. He spent this whole career like I started out on Sesame Street, but I can make puppetry for older audiences. That's kind of what he did. And that's what Labyrinth and Dark.
It's incredible what he pulled off in that, because like I know like what is it like Dark Crystal is kind of a hit or miss for some people. It's not for everybody because it's very fantasy, very kind of heavy, whereas Labyrinth is like music and fun and really dark situations, but when you have Dance Magic Dance over here, I have the soundtrack on vinyl in the other room. You know what I mean? Like,
Crystal,
it's so well
like
done.
I've seen that one.
Even
they had a Netflix show for like the season.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Resistance.
Because they even the fact Jim Henson even like he created the puppet for character. He created the puppets for characters he didn't create himself. Like he created Yoda. He created the character of Yoda.
Yep.
And again, I'm back to Ninja Turtles. He created those rubber suits with the mechanical head so they can make that movie and stuff like that. So you even
see the guy's see the guy's face in a frame inside the mouth.
Yeah, without a pillow laugh. But you do have to pause it for that one. But yeah,
that was creepy.
He spent his whole career just being like, well, the puppetry can be for older kids. I started out on Sesame Street, but I can expand this. And dinosaurs. Got a shout out to dinosaurs. Not the mama.
Oh yeah,
not the mama.
That's on Disney.
Yes,
Disney
I
Plus.
used to love the dinosaurs.
It's a great show.
Started watching it again because it's on Netflix.
It's awesome. Now that's an ending of a TV show that is absolutely just like, wow, that's real bleak.
yeah, absolutely. And with Jim Henson, of course, built all the Sesame Street puppets, and and I wasn't, as a kid, you don't notice this, but when Carol Spinney was inside the Big Bird costume, right? He only moves one of his hands unless there's another, because he has to operate the beak with his hands. He's in the costume like this.
They tied him together.
Well, if you watch Dinosaurs, Robbie's friend Spike, who's like this hoodlum character that he becomes friends with a hoodlum, and his parents don't he's the same kind of puppet. Like I watch him now as an adult, I'm like, oh, that's the Spike is like inside the costume like this. He's a very Big Bird style puppet. But he's because he's animatronic.
It's
movie
a brilliant setup.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So I can watch dinosaurs and pick out. I can pick out. Like,
I used to watch. I remember my friend at my last job tried to he showed me the behind the scene clip of that. I think it destroyed Sesame Street for forever. Especially when you see below the camera shot, you're like, oh my god, there's a bunch of people like this. I'm like, oh, that's so bizarre.
Well, the first season of the Muppet Show, they used to, at the end of the show, instead of the theme song, they pulled back and you could see the puppeteers.
Oh yes.
And Jim Henson thought that killed the illusion, so they're just like, no, we'll just pretend they're real characters. That's better, and I think that's the better for it. But the first season you pull back and do a bunch of dudes with beards, whatnot.
It ruins it. Yeah, it really does take you out of it.
Yeah, the first season of I've been watching. I think I'm on season 5 or whatever. I've been watching those before I go to bed.
That is amazing. I'll have to watch the Muppets more and kind of see and look for that. That is amazing.
It's like anything. It's like if you can kind of look at it in the right light or the right context of what it is, it makes the show. It makes it better. It's like hearing an album or a song. You're like, oh, this is terrible, or this is not for me at all. And then you hear the story behind the song or whatever else. You're like, oh,
connect
I get
to it
that.
a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. Or oh, this is really inspired by a band I do like. I get it now. There it is. There's that moment.
It's a spoof of vaudeville. That's basically what the Muppet Show is.
Yeah.
It sounds like a. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask what your last movie you watched was.
Oh, the last movie I watched was I Braved the Theater and saw Quiet Place Part 2.
Oh, I want to see that.
I have never seen either one of them.
It really is so good.
My wife won't let me watch it in this house.
Yeah, they're both excellent. This entire pandemic, as long as when there was a new movie in the theater, I put on my mask and went to go see it because I wanted, I was, I don't want the movie theaters to close, so I was trying to do my part.
Yeah, well, always go to theaters. So
if I was going to die, I was going to die in a movie theater.
Yeah, seen a good movie. Well, hopefully,
Yeah.
good movie. You don't
Pretty
know.
sure I've seen a post-apocalyptic movie with skeletons in theaters. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
See?
I love
Ambiance.
post-apocalyptic movies and shows.
28
Love
Days
it.
Later.
I've seen that. I've seen the latest movie with Batista, Army of the Dead. Have you guys seen that yet?
I
No.
have.
It's not awesome, but it's worth watching.
It's Snyder doing what Snyder does best, which is just go full batshit crazy action, fun. But the story, the writing is not fantastic, but it's fun.
Yeah,
You know what I
it's
mean?
fun. I feel like the previews were a lot better than the whole.
Good editing. Well, they're already making like a prequel, and they're doing a cartoon of it as well. So they're gonna, because there's so many weird little elements in there that I'm like, wow, this is really cool. There's definitely alien elements going on here. Look, there's a robotic zombie. What the hell is this about? Like, there's so many cool little elements, and it leaves it wide open at the end. So you're just like, oh, okay, now I want to know more. Like, this guy has me hooked, even though this isn't amazing. It's enough to get me keeping going.
Yeah, it's
That sounds
good.
like Snyder.
I mean, it
Sounds
wasn't
like Snyder.
great, but it was worth the watch.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah,
I had a fun time.
I'm a wimp as far as horror goes. I was never into horror.
It's
Yeah.
not even like it's like bloody, but it's like fun, like fun action, like laughing, jokey,
It's comical.
comical.
It's just so fake.
like original RoboCop bloody like that.
I used to watch
not
that.
serious like RoboCop.
Oh, okay,
Like,
let's
you're definitely not getting like someone like going after like a zombie with a bat or something, laughing. You know what I mean? Like that kind of a let's do this. Like they're like a group of people going to like break into a safe inside a casino in the middle of thousands of zombies that are pinned into this whole area inside Las Vegas, and they have so many hours to do their days to do this before they get nuked, pretty much.
Okay, cool.
It's just a bunch of ragtag dudes trying to go get a ton of money for somebody, and there's just smart zombies, alpha zombies, and then there's the your normal dumb ones, and it's all over the place.
Yeah, and that ending just kind of like
Cool ideas I've never heard of before that are in there.
Yeah, I like Zack Snyder's Justice League. I did like I watched the 4 hour cut, the Snyder cut.
Yeah, I haven't.
I liked it, and it had all this the things that all the things that I liked about the not so good version. And just they kept that like basically he just did what he was going to do originally, and whatever Joss Whedon put in there he took out. And yeah, and I thought it was very good. It was I wasn't bored in the 4 hours, and I love the Flash.
I love the Flash.
Doing the whole thing where he's like everything moves too slow for me. He's like coded autistic, and I was diagnosed with Asperger's a few years ago. I'm autistic myself, so I'm like I think that's some coded autistic representation because everything's moves too fast for him, and that's why. And I love the Flash TV show as well, but they don't get into that too much. And
but they did have Ezra a crossover do a cameo on the TV show.
Right, yeah,
so they're trying to connect the universes. I will say one thing about the Justice League. I will say that 4-hour one, I didn't watch it in parts. I don't understand what was the function of having like half an hour of almost an hour, well, basically a half an hour of just slow motion shots.
Because it looks cool.
Like non-stop slow motion. I'm like, what is happening? Why are you just like bilking the time now? Like that in the Flash and Iris like scene like in the city.
Right.
And like just went nowhere. Like it just kind of here it is, and we're moving on now. Like
that's true. Yeah, that one didn't go anywhere. And they might have been setting up the movie. That's where he meets Iris, and people know Iris from the TV show and stuff like that. But like at least when he's moving super fast and everything's in slow motion, at least that explains why it's in slow motion. They're trying to show you he's doing something super fast, like the Quicksilver scene in the X-Men movies.
Yeah.
That at least. But there was some slow motion in there that like was just for stylistic purposes. At least when they do slow motion in the Matrix, it's because he's moving. Neo's supposed to be moving super fast. He's dodging bullets.
It was a snack cider being Zack Snyder, which is just
Snack
like all
cider, yum.
Snack cider, baby. No,
Snacks.
sometimes he's like he's more style than substance.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, this wasn't like Watchmen, like where all that stuff made sense, even if it was like a glorified style shot. Like, it made sense to what the context was.
Yeah.
Like, this was like, hey, I'm gonna walk in slow motion to look out the window or whatever it was. Like,
yeah,
you just wasted like 30 seconds for nothing. Like,
directors that are good at visuals should just team up with a good writer, and then you have a good story. Because I mean, Tim Burton has his style that he does, but you know, a lot of his movies he just teams up with a good writer. So you got a good story, and then he makes it look like what he wants to make it look like. You know, but yeah, like, you know, your Michael Bay's and your Zack Snyder, just team up with a good writer, and then they have a good story, and then they can make it look cool. Okay,
good writer, good producer, yeah.
And we're not taking away from the visuals, but
Actually,
Tim Burton does that sometimes. Yeah.
What is it? Snyder did the first zombie movie, did Dawn of the Dead, because the writer of that famous writer, he kept him in line like that, and the producers kept him in line.
Yeah,
like they make him go so far outside of left field to where it became a completely different property than what it is. Same thing with Watchmen. Like, it was like almost frame for frame like the comic book.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I don't know if he intended that per se, or if someone kept him in line. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's Snyder, that guy.
I always say that, you know, the books that I've written are movies that I didn't have $300 million to actually make, because I do have a very visual imagination. I describe stuff that would look pretty cool. You know, of course, you got to imagine it. But I would love someday to sell the movie rights to my books and be the Turtle Rocket movies Stan Lee. I want cameos in all of them. I would want people to watch them and then look for me in the background when something explodes.
That'd be amazing.
Be the new
in Stephen King.
Okay,
for a long time you did that.
Yeah,
that is neat. As we start closing out for our hour, do you have any advice for people who want to get started with like writing or, you know, getting into that kind of field?
Well, there is definitely, with the internet, a lot of information about how to actually write, how to get your stuff out there. You know, there's definitely, you know, do your research. You can find different ways to do it. I know nothing about traditional publishing, but there's, you can, you know, do your research, and there's definitely
just day and age, just endless.
Yeah. So you can, you know, that doesn't sound like that's not very deep advice to say just do it, but yeah, just do it. Like there's you know, do your research and then just do it. You know,
listen, true believers, no.
yeah.
So it's like a full-time job.
There's always those weird things too, because like when I started looking at the story ideas, like one of the dreams and the story beats and whatever, like I have friends who are comic book makers, indie ones. They're like, oh, let me see it. Let me see what you're looking at. And he goes, tell you what, here's how you do it. And they always told me to look at it like a clock, draw a clock with just the certain hours. And then each one of those hours is a different beat of what the part of the story is. And then then when you get those done, then fill in the in-betweens.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I'm definitely, you know, they say, you know, some writers are plotters because they plan everything ahead, and then others are pantsers. They say if you write by the seat of your pants, it's called, you know, are you a plotter or a pantser? That's on Twitter. The writers always ask if you're a plotter or a pantser. I'm definitely a plotter. I'm definitely a plotter because I want to know how the story's going to end. Like I think it's pointless to drive if you don't know where you're going. Like that's kind of the way I look at my writing.
Right. At least have a good layout.
Yeah, but I do leave room where when I'm writing, I could just come up with another idea and it still fits. You know, I plot, but there's always room. If these two characters need to get here, well, maybe something crazy could happen. Like I was plot, but I leave room to, but I also need some structure. I need to know where I'm driving.
Yeah, structure's good. Where can people buy your books if they're interested in purchasing them?
Well, I have turtlerocketbooks.com, and basically you click on the books, it all links to Amazon, where they're available for Kindle, paperback, and most of them are available on Audible, and if they're not, they will be, the audiobooks. And I'm also on Turtle Rocket Books on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I know Chris Revel was joking about how he's on TikTok now and he doesn't understand it and that kind of thing. If he's listening,
I do it, and I definitely do it. I definitely watch too much of that crap.
Yeah, well, I like what I'm finding on it, but I do have a TikTok page, and I'm gonna figure it out eventually. And
like Revel.
yeah. But like I a lot of what's on there now is I took like things I thought were funny off of I recycled some of my Instagram stuff. And I did, and I got a couple things on there, but I'm on.
That's all comedians do. They just like their podcast. They just like take clips, like a minute worth of clips, and throw it on there. That's really all they do. I mean, it's just free advertising.
Yeah. So turtlerocketbooks.com.
Didn't even have this at the bottom. Wow.
Need the ticker.
Yeah, the ticker.
So I'm so glad that we had this opportunity to get you on Let's Chat Live finally. It was exciting.
Thank you for having me. This has been fun.
Anytime, honestly.
We both got it on here. It's been a while.
Right? This is a new one, and new and old, and it's perfect. Ball, where can listeners find you on the internet?
Oh, let's see. Twitter's at the Irish on Fire. Same thing with Instagram. There's Content Control Pod, which I haven't done anything in a minute. I gotta kind of figure that out once work calms down again. That's pretty much the main places.
Awesome. My non-writing job is crazy too, so I hear you.
I work in a restaurant, I know.
UPS.
Oh, geez. You win.
Office.
Yeah, I win, yeah.
Damages. Stitches.
Again, I am your host, Bree, and this is our good friend, Seaball, and we have Chad from Turtle Rocket Books. Make sure you go check him out at turtlerocketbooks.com and on Twitter. He's very interactive and wonderful, and Instagram, Turtle Rocket Books. And check out Let's Chat Live for all our past episodes and Let's Chat Club, and we hope everyone has a great night. Thanks for tuning in with us.
See you soon.